Takes me forever to share these. Okay. Countdown to March Madness. Number 6, March 11th, 2024, the conference championship week, which really wakes me up because I feel like last week's episode I was terrible on it. I was on the road during the day and had like no sleep over the weekend. But either way,
post guys trip hangover,
totally.
Just not booze related.
Yeah, this is this is the one where I wake up. We're up. I'm up. I got like 1,000 things in front of me, a lot going on. I didn't have any banners for the show, so if you're watching the show, you don't see what we're talking about, but I'll try to keep us on message. I don't know if I can. But the first thing that I want to bring up here is I'm gonna just move something I didn't even write down to the top of the list, which is the DePaul head coaching search. There's a lot going on Twitter today about that. One name I saw on Twitter was Porter Moser, which really only makes sense if he wants to go back to Chicago and if he thinks things aren't going to work out in Oklahoma. Because I think there's two things that you think about this. One is the Big 12 or going to the SEC, which Oklahoma is next season. Like stylistically, that feels like a horrible fit for Oklahoma, what they are right now. Maybe what Moser wants them to be. So that's number one. And number two is obviously he did really, really well at Loyola Chicago. And the Big East, I think it might be easier to rebuild in the Big East than it would be in the SEC. I mean, you look at teams in the SEC that have been in the basement forever, like Vanderbilt, they're not coming back anytime soon. They're better this year than they were last year, but there's a lot going on with the Moser thing. I mean, he's from Naperville. He went to Creighton, I believe, which that's, that ain't happening. McDermott's going to be life. But I wanted to bring up a name, and I think it's been on Twitter a couple times, but, I was asking around a little bit, just getting in there, seeing what's what. Mm-hmm. And I've been told, this is not my report. This is not a report. This is just something that I saw or that I seeked out information, as I do every year with this school. Not the school directly, but, surrounding the school. And, I was just asking around, throwing some messages out there, throw them, wherever you can. And I will say that there is a chance that Bobby Hurley takes the DePaul job. I think there's a chance.
Really?
So I'm just saying, something to think about. I don't know. I feel like Arizona State, trending downward right now.
I think that makes more sense than Porter Moser. But
well, the thing with Moser is just the connection to Chicago,
right? But
and where he thinks Oklahoma's going, because Oklahoma this year has definitely been better than they probably should be, and I think that they will be a tournament team. But going to the SEC, style-wise, how much does that fit? Who knows? And it depends on what does DePaul want to do here? Do they want to, pay a lot of money to entice a Porter Moser? Do they want to say, hey, Bobby Hurley, come to the Big East, and which I think Bobby Hurley's always at some point. And, I pretty much every year I try to figure out, okay, is Hurley finally going to leave Arizona State? I thought St. John's would have been a fun fit. I think obviously getting Patino, that's and obviously, before they hired Mike Anderson, I thought Hurley to St. John's would be great. But I think there's a chance. I really do. I think Hurley in the Big East would be awesome for college basketball, even though I don't think DePaul is going to be one that you can rebuild in a short period of time.
Yeah.
Although, with the way the portal is, how serious does DePaul want to be about basketball? DePaul. It's not like DePaul has been irrelevant for their entire existence. Like, they've had some good teams. They're 3-28 and finished 0-20 in the conference. Like, that's as bad as it gets. Like, it's hard to be that bad.
They were really good until we decided to get on their bandwagon, and
I don't know if really good is the right word to use. They were Minnesota. They would be 12
than Illinois at that time. So
they would be 12-0 in non-conference against a terrible schedule, and then just get slaughtered in the Big East.
Yeah.
But this is they made the tournament in 2000. They were a 9 seed, and then things went south in 01 and 02. 03 wasn't much better, although it was better because they made it to the postseason, just not the NCAA tournament. That's when Litteo took over for the first time. He got over the tournament as a 7 seed. They won 22 games in 04. 05, they got to the postseason, just not the NCAA tournament. 06, bad. 07, made it to the NIT, won 2 games in the NIT. 08 bad with Jerry Wainwright. 09 really bad. They went 8-23, 0-18 in the Big East in 2009. But yeah, they've been bad for most of the time, for the last 20 years, but they've had a couple teams where it's like, hey, they've made the tournament, they've done some things, but yeah, it's going to be tough. I mean, you look at the coaching, how many guys they've had coaching there in the last 20 years. It's a lot. Stubblefield, Dave Lateo was there 2 different times. Oliver Purnell, Jerry Wainwright, Pat Kennedy was there from 98 to 02, and then Joey Meyer before that. So, yeah, they've had some really, really bad teams. But I just want to throw out there, I don't want to spend too much more time on DePaul, but I just want to throw out there Bobby Hurley. I can see it happening. And you know what? I saw another person mention something similar on Twitter that said, hey, what if Arizona State tries to go get Eric Musselman out of Arkansas, which that would just be Musselman was an assistant at Arizona State, and he is a cheap buyout. So that's what I saw with that. But anyway, I'm not saying that I'm the first person to say anything about Hurley to DePaul, but let's just say I checked in on some things, and I can see it happening. I don't know. We'll see. It'd be fun. It would be fun. I'd love to see Bobby Hurley in the Big East. All right, Purdue is the first thing here. They win the Big Ten outright. They are a shoo-in to be probably the number 1 overall 1 seed with the resume. I think they'll probably be the number 1 overall seed.
Yeah, looks that way. And won in convincing fashion 3 games. Beat Illinois at home.
Yeah,
they're good.
They are. So their resume this season, they're number 2 in the net. They're 11-3 in quad 1. So all 3 of their losses were Q2s at Northwestern, at Ohio State, both quad or Q1s. Mm-hmm. And then home against or at Nebraska, also a Q1. 8-0 in Q2, 6-0 in Q3, 3-0 in Q4. And I think that's the mark of a great team when you only play 3 quad 4 games. Because there are certain teams that have played more than that are towards the top. Houston has played 7 of them, just to give you a reference. But yeah, Purdue's resume is as good as it gets, pretty much. So I don't know if they're the best team. I think they're right there if they're not, but they're going to be the number 1 overall seed. And they win the Big Ten, and they did it again, I guess, because they won it last year, right? 15-5. Yeah. Well, I mean, they won it last year 15-5, and they won it by 3 games last year because second was 12-8. This year they go 17-3. They win it by 3 games. Illinois goes 14-6. So yeah, they obviously well earned there. Another one here, back to the Big East, little Rick Pitino stuff. St. John's 5 straight wins to finish the season after Rick Pitino absolutely destroyed his team in the media after loss to Seton Hall. And guess what? He looks like a genius right now because I don't know if they're going to make the tournament. We'll get to some bubble resumes later, but they won. They beat Creighton. They won at Butler.
Georgetown twice.
True, but at Butler is a good win, and beating Creighton. Both double-digit wins, by the way. But yeah, it definitely helps when you have where you can go from February 6th to the end of the season and play DePaul and Georgetown twice.
That helps, yeah, for sure.
And that's why some people are questioning some of the Big East, like St. John's and Seton Hall, because they get to play those teams twice. But, I mean, you look at the margin of victory, though. Okay, so they respond after the Seton Hall game, and they didn't beat Georgetown by much. They beat them by 5. That's not great. But then they go Creighton by 14, so that's plus 19. They beat Butler by 23. That's plus 42. They beat DePaul by 27. That's plus 69. Nice. And then they beat Georgetown by 8 plus. So they're 5-0 with a plus 77 point differential in the 5 games. 19-12, 11-9 overall. Bad losses include Michigan, but that was the second game of the season. And Michigan was, good on offense at that point. Boston College, that's not a great loss. And then I guess, other than that, I wouldn't see any other, because like at Seton Hall, at Providence, those are not bad losses. And then their wins, they have the Creighton win. They have a Utah non-conference win, which is solid. From a metrics perspective, beating Villanova and Xavier are both, good. And beating Villanova twice, I guess. And then, winning at Butler is not a bad win either. So who knows? I mean, I think the Seton Hall St. John's game is going to be enormous on Thursday. winner plays UConn. So another opportunity after that. And I'll be very curious to see what some of the top teams in the country, like Houston and UConn and Purdue, how much do they care about the conference tournaments? I'll be curious to see, because there's certain teams in the Big 12 that clearly don't care, and we'll get to that. But we'll see what happens with St. John's. I'm sure we'll talk about them more later. Kentucky gets a big win at Tennessee. Revenge. Tennessee beat them in Kentucky earlier in the season in February. Kentucky takes care of them, though, 85-81. Antonio Reeves at 27. Reed Shepherd at 27. Those two combined 10 for 15 from three. Hard to beat a team like Kentucky when they make 15 threes. And, I think they also proved you can go into Tennessee and turn it over 16 times and still win the game. I think is another thing they proved. And they only give up 81 points, especially when Connect had 40 of the 81 and 1 assist for Tennessee. So, I mean, Vescovy with 0 points, you're going to beat them a lot if Vescovy scores 0 points.
Yeah, 0 for the day is not good for him. And
then North Carolina wins the ACC. I believe Hubert Davis is Coach of the Year. I think RJ Davis is a Player of the Year, if I'm seeing social media correctly. I don't know. I'm just scrolling. Wasn't really looking. I know Hubert Davis definitely Coach of the Year in there, but did a good job rebuilding the team a little bit. They go 25-6, 17-3. They beat Duke by 5. Flopopowski with just a ridiculously Duke play. I mean, come on.
That was definitely Duke-ish.
And people, Duke fans, wonder why we all love North Carolina way more than Duke.
Yeah.
I guess we like North Carolina. We don't like Duke, I think is what the general public is in college basketball. Like, just a ridiculously stupid play.
Yeah, that seems very accurate.
So. Not like overly dirty, but just dumb. Like, what are you even doing? Like, why are Duke guys like this?
I don't know.
And I'm a huge Grayson Allen fan because of what he's doing in the NBA.
Suns, yeah.
But I didn't like him at Duke.
No, I don't think anybody did.
He's cleaned it up though. He hasn't done anything that I've seen. I've been keeping my eyes on him.
I saw a video about a month ago, but
that was nothing. That was that was nothing. Nobody saw that. But yeah, North Carolina gets it done. I think that we could see a rematch in the ACC tournament, especially because Duke gets to play Virginia if Virginia wins that first matchup in the ACC tournament. We're having trouble streaming to Facebook is what I'm being told here.
That's what it says. I don't know what to do.
I don't really care. Nobody watches us regardless of anything except for the fake Twitter numbers.
On Facebook? What am I doing here? It's just, okay, it's gone.
Yeah.
Bootzilla's here. What's up, Bootzilla? Welcome over to Ethan's channel.
All you're going to see on here is this, and that's it. Like, I don't do anything else.
So, yeah, it's a lot of Ethan rambling about March Madness. So
true. And also maybe I'll do a Packers draft or free agency on this channel instead of just doing it on the Substack. So anyway, UConn and Houston, I thought found a different level that nobody other than those two and probably Purdue has.
Yeah.
UConn just absolutely destroyed Providence. And you know what? 74-60 doesn't do it justice. They were up 24 going into the final 10 minutes. They were up 18 at the half. So the 14-point deficit as the final score does not do this game justice because this was a beatdown. And I think what this showed to me with Providence, and I don't know if they're going to make the tournament. Like, they're probably on the outside looking in by a little bit right now. But like Devin Carter, if nobody else outside of him is making shots, if Ticket Gaines goes 1 for 5 from 3, or Aduro misses a ton of shots, he was 5 for 16 in this game. It's tough to win. I mean, Devin Carter, 24 points, 15 rebounds, 4 assists as a 6'3", 195 guard, and they weren't even close in this game.
Yeah.
So that's UConn, and then Houston just blew out Kansas, and Kansas is in a tough spot right now. Kansas is going to be dangerously overseeded, I think. They go into Houston, lose 76-46, just an insanely phenomenal performance from a Houston team that goes 15-3 in their first year in the Big 12. If there's any doubts about whether they can hang in a different conference, they've proven that they can. And Hunter Dickinson went out with a shoulder injury. I believe McCullough is still hurt as well. So Kansas, we talked about depth all season. They are in trouble right now with that. And I could see them. I think if they lose that first matchup in the Big 12 tournament, they will probably be a 4 seed instead of a 3 seed. So I would say Illini fans, keep your eye on that, as well as Kentucky fans. So
Yeah.
I wanted to highlight. I have a highlighter right in front of me. I wanted to highlight Danny Sprinkle, what he's done at Utah State year one. This is a team that brought pretty much nobody back.
Yeah.
Like they were the third worst team in the country in terms of minutes continuity from last season. And he comes in, brings in an entirely new roster. They go 26-5, 14-4 in the Mountain West. Like, I don't think it's being highlighted enough how insane that is. Like, a lot of people talk about the Mountain West, but the fact that the Utah State won the Mountain West in this fashion is kind of insane to me. I don't know. They cap it off with a big win at home over New Mexico, a great basketball game as well. But Utah State has a lot of guys that can go. And, Utah State's also a team that lost their head coach. Ryan Odom went to VCU. They lost in the first round last year to Missouri by 11. Everybody's gone. Ashworth went to Creighton. Stolga went to VCU. So bringing an entirely new team, and Danny Sprinkle can coach. And you know what? He might end up being a one-year guy at Utah State. I would not be surprised if he gets the Washington job with Hopkins gone there. But Sprinkle also had success. Obviously, Montana State made the tournament the last 2 years going into this year. So props to him. I think he should be National Coach of the Year. I don't care what anybody says. I think Coach of the Year in college basketball, we're about as lost as we've ever been in terms of what it should mean in every conference. Like the fact that, and obviously this is incredibly biased for me, but the fact that Brad Underwood hasn't even been close to being recognized for what he's done the last 5 years at Illinois, hasn't even been in the conversation for Coach of the Year, is insane to me. Like, he gets punished in 2021 because, Io and Kofi come back and they won the Big Ten. It's insane to me that they didn't get awarded the Big Ten that year. They went 16-4. Give me a break. Of course, I guess Michigan didn't prove anything, though. Let's be honest. Because Michigan, yeah, they went further in the tournament that year, but Illinois also won the Big Ten tournament that year, which is what should be the validation right there for who should win the conference in the regular season when Illinois went 16-4. So anyway, I don't want to go too hard on that, but I think Danny Sprinkle should be National Coach of the Year, and I don't care what anybody says because he had brought in an entirely new roster, and everybody talks about how great the Mountain West was this year, and I agree. The Mountain West is going to have, 6 bids, possibly? 6 or 7 bids, and he won the conference in his first year there. So I would give Danny Sprinkle National Coach of the Year right now. I wouldn't even hesitate. Your thoughts?
Yeah, pretty impressive by him.
They're going to lose in the first round, by the way, as every Mountain West team does. I think there's going to be one this year that goes to the Sweet 16. It's either going to be Utah State or Nevada would be my guess, but we'll get deeper on that next weekend. The net rankings suck. I just want to throw that out there because we all know it. It's just every year you can just tell, like, oh, come on, man. It's almost like if you have a hard schedule, you're going to have a good net ranking no matter how bad you are. Is almost where we're at. Like, if you have a hard non-conference, you make things as challenging as possible, you're going to – and you don't lose any Q3 or Q4 games, you're going to have a good net ranking. And that's where we're at. It's a sad state of affairs, folks. A sad state of affairs. An example of this, I guess, would probably be I don't even know what it would be, but it would be something. But I feel like Michigan State's gotten away with it a little bit.
Yeah.
Like Michigan State's not the 25th best team in the country. They're probably not even the 35th best team in the country right now. They don't shoot enough threes. And that's like the best thing they do on offense is make threes. And Izzo's pitching.
Guards, yeah.
And Izzo's saying, we shot too many threes. Yeah, okay. It seems like Izzo and Mike Woodson are a little bit in the past here. And if you listen to a guy who's evolved, Rick Pitino talked a lot about today on the Pardon My Take podcast he was on about, how important it is to shoot threes nowadays. I don't know if it's him evolving because he was doing it back then, but I think you need to recognize what the game is right now. And the Big Ten also was different this year offensively. So the The Big Ten does have an interesting bubble. I accidentally segued there. There are some interesting teams in the bubble in the Big Ten. Iowa is one of them. They lost last night to Illinois. Michigan State, I think, is starting to trend towards, okay, they're not entirely in right now. Let's be careful. Other than that, I don't think there's anybody that can get their way back in there without winning the conference tournament. Like Ohio State, I don't think it's close enough right now. Although their resume is not bad.
They'd have to win it all, you're saying?
Either that or get there and get some luck with some of the other bubble teams falling out.
Yeah.
Ohio State buried themselves in January into early February. From January 6th to February 6th, Ohio State went 1-8. And since then, they are 7-2. So 6-2. Sorry, that's on me. 6-2. 7-2 sounded way better. And according to KenPom, they are a 1-point favorite against Iowa for the honor to play Illinois, which there you go.
Yeah. Don't love either of those matchups for Illinois. But
I don't think we need to care, though. We don't need to care.
Yeah, I guess.
Just play a good game. You win, you win. If you lose, you lose.
Yeah. We can talk about that some other time.
Lenardi is a 4 seed. Lenardi has Kansas has Lenardi as a 4 seed. Yeah, he's like a 400 seed. But no, Kansas is a 4 seed. Yeah, I can see it happening. I mean, they're definitely trending in the wrong direction right now, no doubt about it. Teams that have clinched NCAA tournament bids: Morehead State in the OVC, Longwood, the Big South, back-to-back years, Drake in the Missouri Valley, a great Missouri Valley championship game between Drake and Indiana State, and then Stetson in the Atlantic Sun. I don't think I missed one. I think there's only 4 right now. I want to run the numbers on that one. But you got Drake right, so 1 for 4 there. I went 0 for 4. Swing and a miss. I think I picked Morehead State last year, and they lost, I think. Not great.
Nobody likes Morehead State, I hear.
Yeah, Southeast Missouri State last year.
4 teams have clinched.
Yeah. By the way, how about the absolute chaos in the Big Sky tournament? Have you seen this?
I have not, no.
Let me just
what's going on in the Big Sky?
So the Big Sky, I believe their tournament's been going on for 2 days. Maybe 3 days of play. I'm trying to get through the bracket here.
Mm-hmm.
So it started on Saturday, and they played the next round of games on Sunday, and then there's 2 more tonight. 10 seed Sacramento State beat 1 seed Eastern Washington, which was followed by 8 seed Idaho State beating 2 seed Northern Colorado. So the 1 and the 2 are out in the Big Sky, and the 8 and 10 are into the semis. So congrats to the likes of Montana and Weber State, because they are in a prime spot now. And wouldn't it be something if 10 and 23 Sacramento State won 2 more games and got into the tournament? Wouldn't that be something?
That would be something.
A Sacramento State team that started 2-2 in the conference, then lost 11 games in a row, and then lost to Eastern Washington by 3 in the last game of the season, beat Idaho by 8 in the first matchup of the tournament, and then beat Eastern Washington by 5. So Eastern Washington, since making the tournament in 2021, they made it, lost to Kansas in the first round. They gave them a good game, though. Last season, or the season before that, they lost in the second game of the Big Sky tournament. And then last season, they lost in the first game of it, and then they did that again. So both times, last 2 seasons under David Riley, they've been the 1 seed in the tournament and lost in the first game. So not great. Why are there comments?
We got Wesley and Bootzilla hanging out today.
Yeah, and then 38 fake people.
Thanks for coming out, guys. Yeah, Twitter. We got 800 people in here on Twitter. Wow. Wesley says Indiana State is going to need some bubble teams to fall off to get them in. Bootzilla says Indiana State going to need a lot of chalk. Rob Dowser of Field of 68 says F all the bubble teams and put Indiana State in.
I think it's all going to come down to what the committee thinks of Indiana State.
Yeah, you've said
Like,
that
do
a
they
lot.
think? Yeah, do they think they're a good team or not? I think if you look at our guy Bowertology, who's one of the top, he has them in right now.
Yeah, I think they deserve a shot over some
Virginia, put them
Tiddington.
in over
Yeah.
Virginia. Jesus, make us watch Virginia. That's like, oh, it's disgusting. I'm disgusted by that.
Wesley says, "You guys a fan of neutral sites for conference tournaments, or would you rather a higher seed get home court advantage?" I think neutral sites are best. Um,
I
but
think it
it
depends
kind
on
of
the level of conference.
yeah. I think it's hard for. I think you want to sell tickets for the smaller conferences, so you can't do neutral sites for them.
When you have historically not great conferences that have two good teams every year, I am not opposed to giving them a home game. Like the Patriot League doesn't Colgate gets home game. The Patriot League is all like campus sites, I believe.
Yeah,
So I don't know about that because Colgate's brutal this year. They're getting a free ride to the. I mean, look at Colgate against teams that aren't in their conference. They lost to Syracuse by 4, but Syracuse sucks. And for some reason, Colgate always plays Syracuse well. They lost to Yale by 18. They lost to Harvard by 6. They lost to Arizona by 27. Lost to Illinois by 17. They lost to Iona, who's not great this year, by 20. They lost to Cornell by 13. This Colgate team sucks. I've said it. I said it last night. I'll say it again. Colgate is going to get destroyed in the first round. I don't care who they play. Destroyed. Because they're not going to lose to Lehigh in that championship game Wednesday. That's not happening. But yeah, I think it depends on the conference in terms of what they. I mean, I think there's at least 16 to 20, maybe 22 conferences that should have neutral sites and do have neutral sites. But like McNeese this year in the Southland, McNeese is head and shoulders above everybody. Like giving them all home games would be fine. I know it's planned out before, but I'm just saying if that were the case, it would make sense that they would have an advantage given the fact that they went 17-1 in the conference this year and are clearly the best team in the conference. Yeah, Virginia sucks. Virginia was a 4 last year, lost to Furman. That was a close game. Though, by the way, I look up here, I erased it. It's all gone.
Uh-oh.
I just have 2024. That thing was hard to erase.
I bet.
Couldn't have waited a year.
Been up there a while.
Yeah. All right, let's get into the conference tournaments this week. Everything else getting underway. We'll start in the AAC, the American Athletic Conference. Some departures from the Conference USA last year have kind of left the Conference USA in a horrible spot and maybe improved what the AAC was, even though they lost some key teams such as Houston and Cincinnati, not a bad basketball program by any means. But in the AAC, who you got?
I'm gonna go with UAB. They've beaten Memphis. They've beaten South Florida already this year, and they had a win over Drake earlier in the season. So I'm going with a little bit of an upset in that one.
I'm gonna go FAU. I think they have the DNA. I think when the calendar flips to March, they'll turn it on.
Yeah.
They're 3-0 in March so far. Beat Tulane, North Texas, and Memphis. In terms of their draw, I think it's solid. I'm not. I mean, I think they're better than South Florida, who's the 1 seed. So I think there's actually a gap between them and South. Like I think right now, I know South Florida beat them a month ago. I think FAU is much better, and maybe I'm underrating South Florida. I probably am, but nice try. All right, the Atlantic 10 Conference is next.
I'm gonna go with Dayton. I picked them to win the regular season. They failed me, so I'm gonna pick them to win the tournament.
They had a good season though. They were trending towards winning it. They've had some injuries.
Yeah, they just didn't they lose their last game of the season?
They
No,
lost.
they
They
did not.
lost 2 of 5 and 3
Gotcha.
of yeah. Anyway,
They're trending the wrong way. That's why I picked them.
They do have one of the best players in the country, Deron Holmes, one of the best players in the country.
Yeah, that's what you've
But
told me.
Javon Bennett hurt, so that's tough. I'm going to go a little off the board here. First off the board selection, I would say.
Okay.
I don't know if it's that off the board. I think they're the 4 seed, maybe. I'm going to take UMass, 4 or 5 seed, whatever they are. Give me UMass. Frank Martin, head coach there. He's done a good job. I think they have a decent path to getting there because I don't think that anybody should be that afraid of a matchup against VCU if you play them, and then if you play Richmond to get there, I don't think you should be that afraid of that. UMass has been tough all year, 11-7 in the conference. Finished when they won 4 of their last 5. This conference stinks, by the way. There's a lot of bad teams in this conference. It's not good this year.
Yeah.
But anyway, on to the I'm going to skip over the Power Conference for now.
Okay.
Get these other ones out of the way. Go to the Big West.
The Big West. I don't know why. It just popped out to me. I picked UC San Diego.
Ooh. I did do some studying on them a little bit when I was making this pick, and I had them written down.
Okay.
And then I changed it. I'm going with UC Davis. So I'm also going off the board a little bit.
Really?
UC Davis is about as hard to play against defensively outside of UC Irvine that you're going to find in this conference.
Yeah.
They muck it up. They don't score a lot. They don't give up a lot of points and a lot of. I mean, their win over Long Beach State at the end of the season was an outlier. They scored 88 points. But you look at some of their matchups this year. You look at UC Irvine, who's the top team in the conference. They lost to them by 3 in overtime, and then they beat them by 2 in the second matchup. So I like UC Davis. In terms of bringing back guys, they did so. They're 4th in the country in minutes continuity. And if you're going to go off the board, I think UC Davis is the best pick. Although I will say, Hawaii's fun, and UC San Diego is also fun because they can score it. However, I don't know if they're still in the transition phase to where they're banned because this is their 4th year. I don't know where they're at on that.
Stupid rule.
That might have been part of the reason why I didn't pick them because I didn't know and I didn't look it up. But either way, we both went off the board there. UC Irvine, who's a rumored matchup for the Illini in a lot of these brackets.
Yeah.
We told them to hit the bricks. All right.
See you later.
Conference USA, which is about as down as it's ever been this year.
Yeah, I have no clue. I went with Louisiana Tech. They've gotten beat by Sam Houston twice this year. It's hard to beat a team 3 times. That's why I don't want to see Iowa in the Big Ten tournament. But, give me the Bulldogs of Louisiana Tech.
You seem overly concerned with the Big Ten tournament. I'm going to go Sam Houston State. Whatever. Sam Houston State, they haven't lost since February 8th. So I'll take them. I think they're the best team in the conference, and I think that they'll actually avoid the matchup that you mentioned. So that would be good for them. Yeah. I feel like I picked Sam Houston State to win whatever conference they're in for years now, and I think it finally might happen. I can't believe how bad CUSA is, though. It's so bad this year. Ivy League, 14 tournament.
Yeah, I went with the Yale Bulldogs.
What are your thoughts on Dartmouth trying to unionize when they went 2-12 in the Ivy League this year?
I don't know.
And have the 11th worst offense in the country.
Sounds like a bunch of lawyers play on that team.
Miss me with that BS. Who'd you go with?
Yale.
Man, I really hope we get Princeton and Yale in the championship.
Yeah.
I'm going Princeton. I think Princeton is so good this year. Like Princeton last year was good. They obviously got to the Sweet 16. They're way better this year offensively. Defensively, they're not as good, but offensively, they can score it. And they scored 59 points to beat Arizona in the first round last year. They're going to be able to do more than that because they have 2 of the best players in the conference, probably the 2 best players in the conference. Xavier Lee and Caden Pierce. Top 2 right now, according to a lot of different metrics and stats and such. They're 28th in offensive efficiency. They're really good at the free throw line. They're really good inside the 3-point line. They're 35.8% from 3. They're number 1 in the country in turnover percentage. But I think some of that has to do with probably the lack of quality defenses in the Ivy League. You look at Cornell, Brown, Harvard, Columbia, Penn, Dartmouth. those schools couldn't guard me. So that was a joke, but still, those teams can't guard. Yeah, give me Princeton. They've won 9 straight coming in. Great matchup. I mean, Yale beat them by 6 in the first matchup. Princeton beat them by 11 in the second.
Yeah.
Game 3, bring it on. I really hope not Harvard. I really hope Cornell doesn't ruin that for us because I think Princeton's going to beat Brown by about 50 in that first game. I know they only beat them by 10 and then by 9 in the second game. It's going to be a beatdown this time because this is when Princeton wakes up. Mitch Henderson, great team. Princeton, better get it done. I'll be pissed if they don't. Let's go over to Atlantic City, New Jersey for the Metro Atlantic Athletic Conference Tournament, which is a little different now that we don't have Rick Pitino at Iona.
Yeah, I went with the Marist Red Foxes.
All right, give me a team from New Jersey.
Okay.
I think Marist is also from New Jersey.
Perfect.
I believe a lot of these teams are from New Jersey.
I just
Marist.
like Red
Sorry,
Foxes. That's
I
cool.
apologize. Marist is from Poughkeepsie, which is New York. I apologize. But Fairfield is Connecticut. Why did I say New Jersey? My head, Atlantic City on the brain. Fairfield's in Connecticut, you idiot. The Fairfield Stags is who I'm taking. They're 14th in the country and shooting it from downtown. It was Pittsburgh accent there. And I just don't really trust Quinnipiac, who's at the top of the conference. Quinnipiac, they're not elite on either side of the ball. Not that they have to be, but they're not even close to that on either side of the ball. They had a 4-game losing streak this year to Mount St. Mary's, Niagara, Ryder, and Fairfield beat them by 4. They won 4 straight coming in, 4-4 in their last 8. I don't love them. I'm going to take Fairfield. We both went off the board there. So we're not picking the favorites here, folks. Keep that in mind.
I didn't even know that's how you said that, Quinnipiac.
Yeah. Well, they have a pretty good hockey program, so I'm pretty familiar with that as well. MAC, the MAC conference, the Metro, no, the Mid-American, sorry.
Yeah, I think there's only one pick here. Running the Fighting John Grosses of Akron.
Nobody's ever said that there's only one pick in the MAC tournament.
I mean, I can't go away from John Gross. That's
They
silly.
were supposed to win it last year. I don't know if they were supposed to win it last year, but they were set up well to win it last year and didn't win. Give me Toledo.
Okay.
Taking the Toledo Rockets from Toledo, Ohio. A team that, by the way, won the conference. So let's not, forget that. They're good on offense, 113.8 adjusted efficiency on offense. They can shoot it 38% in conference play from 3. They were also second in 2-point percentage in conference play and second in free throw shooting. The only team above them in those stats were Akron and Ball State. So they don't really guard very well, which I think if we get a Toledo-Akron championship game, I'd be a little bit concerned about the inability to guard that Toledo has shown in spots. I mean, you look at their matchups against Akron, though. They held Akron to 64 in the time they beat them on February 20th. And they lost to them by 7. So a lot of home and away splits in terms of the top teams and conferences this year. It's been a lot, except for the Big Ten, of course. God forbid Illinois gets to beat Purdue, whatever. The MEAC is where we go next. Another bad conference.
Norfolk State.
Yeah, Norfolk State, they won it in 2021, 2022. Lost to Howard last year in the final. I think they're head and shoulders above, though, this year. I think they'll get in easily. And then you will see them on, Tuesday or Wednesday in the
playing game.
In the play-in, whatever. It's not really a play-in.
Not a playing game. Yeah, whatever.
What's next? The Mountain West, which is going to be chaos. This is one to really keep the eyes on.
I went with Boise State.
Really?
Yeah, really.
I was trying to buy time so I could write something down here. All right, I got it. I'm going UNLV. I don't know why.
Really?
I'm going a little off the board here. I was thinking San Diego State at first, but I don't love them. And I think if UNLV beats San Diego State in that first matchup, why not the Running Rebels? Why not?
Why not?
Right now, I think a lot of people view them as a team that, would add to the number of bids that we could see in the Mountain West if they were to get in and figure it out. Their resume, they're pretty much the bottom of the bubble right now by a lot of metrics. So I think that changes things to them a little bit. But it's going to be chaos. They've won 10 of 12 coming in. Both of their losses were to Nevada. So I'll take that. A team 10-2 going in with 2 losses being to Nevada, who maybe, we'll see what happens in the tournament, but maybe they avoid them. Let's see. We got the SWAC now, the Southwestern Athletic Conference next up.
Yeah, I'm going with the Grambling Tigers, who won the regular season conference.
Well, I usually have a philosophy where I try not to pick poorly efficient offenses to win things,
Right.
and I'm usually wrong.
Right.
So I'm going to pick a team that is horrendous defensively, but way better than everybody else offensively in this conference, which is Alcorn State, who some of the numbers for Alcorn State are just absurd. First of all, they shoot at 34.3% from three, which is way better than everybody else pretty much. They use their bench a lot, 40.2% bench minutes. They don't, they're not, let's put it this way. Alcorn State started the season 1-13. They went 13-5 in conference play. They lost to Arkansas, Arkansas State, UAB, Michigan State, TCU, UT, Arlington, Clemson, VCU, Maryland, Northern Iowa, Drake, George Washington, and Jackson State to start the season. They didn't get their first win against a Division I opponent until January 11th because the team they beat in their second game of the season was not a D1 opponent. So basically, they are 13-4 since January 11th. So,
ouch.
I hope a team that started 1-13 gets in the tournament. So, give me Alcorn State.
That would be awesome. That would be great.
Let's go to the WAC, Western Athletic. Good conference this year, by the way.
I went with Grand Canyon in the WAC.
I do think Grand Canyon is head and shoulders above. I think they're the best team on both ends. They're balanced. They started the year 17-1 before losing to Seattle on January 20th. They've lost 2 of their last 5, which is a bit uncharacteristic given the fact they were 24-2 at one point. Bryce Drew's done an awesome job here. This would be their 3rd tournament appearance in 4 years if they can get it. And they probably should have 4 in a row because 2022 they won the conference and then didn't get into the tournament. But last year they were a 14 seed. The 2 years before that, they were a 15 seed. They lost to Gonzaga last year by 12. They lost to Iowa the year before that. There's some good teams in this conference, though. This is a low key, as the kids would say. This is Charleston State, I think, is still banned from the postseason. I heard that earlier. So that would mean that, by the way, whoever you picked earlier, UC San Diego, they're also banned for sure. So
still going to win the tournament.
UT Arlington can guard. Seattle can guard, Utah Valley can guard, Stephen F. Austin can guard. It's going to be an interesting tournament. I think teams are going to throw a lot at Grand Canyon, but I think they'll get through it. They got 2 of the 3 best players in the conference, probably with Grant Foster and Gabe McLaughlin. Tyon Grant Foster is his name, by the way. DePaul transfer. Didn't play last year. All right. Back up to the top of the ranks here. ACC. Go ahead.
I went with North Carolina. I think the ACC sucks. North Carolina showed that they can dominate Duke. Give me North Carolina. I don't think anybody touches them.
I think somebody said earlier that it's hard to beat a team 3 times. And that's the philosophy I'm taking here. Give me Duke. I think Duke has a free ride as long as they beat Virginia. I don't know who that – let me look here who the So Virginia – even if Virginia loses, it would be Clemson. So Duke could have like Syracuse and Clemson to get to the championship game. Clemson's good, but that's a good road for Duke. North Carolina, on the other hand, could have Virginia Tech or Florida State and then Pitt or Wake Forest, which I think is a little bit harder. That's just me. I think it depends on what people think of what all the folks at home think about the what was I going to say? Yeah. What the folks at home think about Duke. I don't know. What stupid. Big 12. Big 12.
I went with Houston. I think there's 3 teams in the country that are better than everybody else. I'm going to pick them all to win their conference tournament. So Houston to start that off.
Lame.
Sorry.
I'm taking Houston as well. Here here's what I wrote down on why Houston's going to win this conference tournament. You ready?
Yep.
I don't think Baylor or Kansas are interested in winning this, so give me Houston. I don't think Kansas is even capable of winning it, but I also don't think they care at all.
Yeah.
By the way, I forgot to upload the backgrounds. We've been using last week's background this entire time.
Kansas better start caring.
Can't see it.
I'll tell you that.
Well, the thing is, I don't think they've ever cared to win the conference tournament, like ever.
Right.
When was the last time they did it?
No clue.
Last year they lost in the championship to Texas, I believe. They threw that one. Okay, they won it in 2022. I was thinking of Baylor. I apologize, but still, I don't think Kansas cares to win it this year. Baylor is the one who never wants to win it. I got those crossed up there. Anyway, here's the background for this week. Whoops. People comment some more, please. Thanks. Save me. Yeah, I'm taking Houston as well. Big East.
UConn.
Yeah, I'm taking UConn as well. They didn't win it last year. I think they'll win it this year. However, if I pull out the purple file again, see what we got bracket-wise.
What we got in there?
Bracket up here. As you can see, the Big East bracket right in front of me here. Hold on, turning it around. All right. So they got Xavier or Butler in their first game. Butler, sneaky. I would watch out, but I think they'll be fine. Then they got St. John's or Seton Hall in their second game. So, not the easiest road. And then you'd be in the championship. Pretty easy, actually. But yeah, I would watch out for Creighton. It would be who I would be worried about if I were UConn. That'd be it. Not too concerned about Marquette. They got to try to get healthy for the NCAAs, as they say. All right, what's next? Big Ten? Yeah, Big Ten.
The three-headed monster. I went with Houston, UConn. I'm gonna go with Purdue. Told you, I think there's three teams better than everybody else. I'm picking them all.
I tend to get weird with the Big Ten in terms of my picks. I think I picked Michigan last year.
Yeah, you going with Ohio State or something in this?
I've decided to go weird again this year. Give me the Buckeyes. Give me Ohio State. Yeah. They've won 4 or 5 coming in.
I'm a genius.
They've won 6 of 8. Diebler's got them playing solid ball. They're trending in a direction where, hey, maybe it's not the craziest thing. I think they could sneak into the tournament if they win. Well, obviously they would get in if they won this, but if they end up, losing in the championship game. By the way, Ohio State 19-12, 9-11 overall. That's not bad for a team that fired their coach in the season. It's kind of crazy, but
he's
I think
only lost one game, right? Diebler.
Yeah, 5-1 came in the Purdue game. They beat Purdue, Michigan State, Nebraska, Michigan, Rutgers convincingly in these last 3. Nebraska by 9, Michigan by 23, Rutgers by 22. Big one against Iowa Thursday though. And then they run into the buzzsaw of the Illini. Pac-12.
I'm taking your Oregon Ducks to win the Pac-12, get into the tournament.
I was going to get weird with this one too, but then I was like, you know what? Arizona won it pretty easily last year. I think they'll win it again this year. And I don't think they'll lose in the first round this time. But
I thought yesterday you were all about UCLA or the day before or something.
It's USC.
Oh.
Arizona's won it twice in a row. So who knows? Maybe they'll do it again. I'm picking them, though.
Okay.
They'll figure it out. Their guards are so much better than pretty much everybody in the conference. SEC.
I think Kentucky's a team to beat right now in the SEC. They can score in bunches, and teams got to stay up with them. So, Wildcats.
I think exciting teams come alive in March and win their conference tournaments. I think if you can shoot the ball, you have a chance to do that. If you can,
they let you shoot.
Well, if you can shoot it effectively, and score points, and that's what the SEC is all about. And a team that's won 3 in a row against 2 awful teams coming in, scored 99 against Alabama in an 18-point win. They beat South Carolina by 30. Actually, it was 40. They beat them by 40. Give me Auburn to win the SEC tournament. I think Tennessee, Kentucky, Auburn are probably the 3, and then maybe Alabama is the 4th. and then a drop off, because I really don't think South Carolina is quite as good as their record, which I think South Carolina is the Texas A&M of this year, where Texas A&M went 15-3, 25-10 overall last year, lost in the first round to Penn State by 17. That's where I think South Carolina is this year. So give me Auburn. And before we do some bracket talk, upset picks from last week, since we're not doing upset picks this week, we could just go over what we had last week. I went 1-2 last week in the upset picks, and I wish I could have remembered who my third pick was, because I could have done another clip about how I was right. What did you have last week?
What do you mean? I went 0 for 3. Nope. I picked North Carolina over Duke.
It's cheap as hell.
Yeah, that's the only one I got. I had Illinois over Purdue and UCLA beating Arizona. So I think that I've gotten like 2 games right in these upset picks. So it's not good. It's not good at all.
UNC Duke, I guess, counts, but how much should it would be
Yeah, I mean, I was playing the game that you've played where, that team's a favorite, so it counts.
Number one, you were trying to call me out for NC State Clemson, and Clemson was the favorite. But anyway, I'm just way better than anybody at this. Syracuse over Clemson, I missed. UCF over Houston was close. Miss. Then I had USC over Arizona, so I did it again. Once again. How about that?
That's pretty good.
Every week. My bracket's going to suck this year. I've used all of my
your picks.
Thoughts on this, and it's ruined.
Yeah. You have been pretty amazing at the upset picks.
Well, amazing is a strong word, but
you've been slightly above okay.
Yeah, there you go. Bowertology. I just threw the paper. Hold on.
Threw him on the ground. So we think of you, Bowertology.
But flying pretty good. All right, got it. All right. Last 4 buys: Michigan State, TCU, Seton Hall, Colorado. Last 4 in: Indiana State, Virginia, Mississippi State, New Mexico. First 4 out: St. John's, Texas A&M, Villanova, Pittsburgh. Next 4 out: Wake Forest, Iowa, Providence, Kansas State. I think this is a complicated bubble. Before we get to the bubble, some notable matchups here that I will throw out at people. Kentucky McNeese, electric. I would love to see Samford and their lack of height against Alabama. That would be a sight. They're not even in, though. Some of these teams still going to win. Clemson Princeton would be upset city in terms of picks, a 6-11. That would be upset city. Utah State James Madison would be a very, very interesting matchup. Creighton Charleston, I think, would be the 3-14 that's close, but the 3 wins. Let's see. Marquette Colgate would be a great get right game for Marquette because Colgate sucks. That's my agenda. Colgate is terrible. Gonzaga Colorado. Gonzaga is good. Colorado's very talented. I'd be curious how that would play out. Notable 8-9. How about a little St. Mary's Nebraska? St. Mary's have a defensive plan to shut down Tominga, as everybody's been calling him. It's actually Tominaga. Nice try. But they're 16th in efficiency on defense is St. Mary's. They muck it up. That would be intriguing. And then Colorado State Northwestern, guard play. Boo against Isaiah Stevens. That would be a fun matchup there. And, of course, Illinois against UC Irvine, which could be Illinois against UC Davis or UC San Diego can't be in. Diego. So it's probably going to be UC Irvine. I think that's what they're banking on because if UC San Diego, who is second in the conference, wins it, then UC San Diego wins it. UC Irvine gets in. Yeah, I don't think UC Davis is going to win like I do.
Do you think anybody's not going to pick Princeton over Clemson after last year, though?
If that were 6-11, I think 90% of brackets would pick Princeton.
Yeah, I would agree.
And I think Princeton's not better, but almost as good. Maybe better, actually. I don't know. Definitely better offensively. And they have that, hey, they got to the Sweet 16 last year. Everybody watch out type thing. But last year's tournament, I think, is going to be proven to be an outlier. I don't think some of the teams that went far last year are going to – I don't think FAU is going to go very far. I don't think San Diego State's going to go very far. I think UConn is the only one that is going to prove that UConn's probably going to get to the Final Four. I don't know, though. It's been a weird run for number 1 overall seeds last couple of years.
It's true.
Wisconsin Drake 7-10 is another matchup here. Goodbye, Wisconsin. Boise State, Michigan State. I could see Boise State winning that game. All right, let's do the bubble. Actually, I'll go over the bids by conferences here. Big 12, 9, SEC 7, Big 10 and Mountain West 6, ACC and Big East 4, Pac-12 3, American A10, Missouri Valley West Coast Conference 2. So 2 bid Missouri Valley here, according to this. So the bubble right now, Colorado is viewed as the last 4 bye, according to this Bowertology. Yes. Notable, they have 0 Quad 1A wins. They have 2 Quad 1 wins. They have 0 losses in Quads 3 or 4, so they got that going for them. That helps. They have 20. They're 27th in the net. New Mexico's 28th in the net. New Mexico is 2-7 in Quad 1. They have 1 Quad 2 loss. By the way, Colorado has 4 Quad 2 losses, I should have mentioned. And then New Mexico, one thing that is interesting is that they have a Quad 4 loss. They're 9-1 in Quad 4. In terms of clean resumes, I would say if St. John's is considered a bubble team, I think St. John's has a stronger resume than some, and here's why. They have 2 wins against Quad 1A, which is better than Quad 1. They have 3 against Quad 1s, 6 against Quad 2s, 2 losses, 3-1 against Quad 3, and 7-0 against Quad 4. I think St. John's should be more in than they are right now, according to some. And I'll be curious to see. I mean, they're 39th in the net, so top 40 in the net. That's good. Yeah. The Indiana State thing, they're 29th in the net, 0-2 against Quad 1A, 1-4 against Quad 1, 4-1 against Quad 2, 10-0 against Quad 3, 12-1 against Quad 4. And I take issue with the team, and it's not their fault entirely, but they played 23 games against Quads 3 and 4. And I know the quad system is not perfect. It's not great. It's not a great thing to reference all the time, but 23 games against Quads 3. That's way above anybody else in this list. The only one close that I see off the top of my head right now, or at least looking at the list, is Richmond, who's played 20 against those opponents. So I don't know.
Quad 1 win. Also, Auburn only has 1 Quad 1 win. Is that true?
Is it? I don't know.
That's what I've heard on the Twitters. Do you think because the bubble is so tough this year, it's going to make them want to expand this tournament?
I don't think that's going to be the reason. I think money's going to be the reason.
Okay.
That could factor in somewhere. Yeah, Auburn has 1 Quad 1 win, but there's a bit of a difference. Like, they have no losses outside of Quad 1. They're top 15 in offensive and defensive efficiency, which not many teams can say.
Yeah.
A handful of teams. So there's a bit of a difference, but yeah. They're
also a 4 seed. The other one's on the bubble. So that would be the difference.
And their Quad 1 win was 18-point win over Alabama. So I don't know what Indiana State's Quad 1 wins are. Or I guess they have one.
Just one of them.
Drake, right? Yeah.
Probably, yeah.
I think winning against Alabama is probably better than winning against Drake.
A little bit.
Somebody's going to get left out and people are going to freak out. It's probably going to be Indiana State. And I want them to be in, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's a good chance they're not.
I would put Villanova in before I would put Indiana State in.
Really?
Yeah. Villanova has 2 Quad 1A wins, 4 Quad 1 wins. They have a bunch of Quad 1 and 2 losses, 11 of them. They have 3 Quad 3s, no Quad 4s. So, I don't know.
It's part of being part of the Big East, isn't it?
Yeah, and, Indiana State can complain all they want. They should have won the game yesterday. Got to be better. Got to clean it up.
Just got to finish.
Yeah, they got destroyed by Drake's offense yesterday. Drake was also making everything except that one stretch where they weren't. So, all right, I think that's enough. We will be back with this one next Monday for a bracket breakdown, which that could be 4 hours, it could be 3 hours, it could be 2 hours, it could be one like this. You never know how we'll do it. I mean, we do have the Sunday night Illini stream, so that could take away some of the length of time that this other one will take, or the one next Monday will take. But we'll see. We'll have a bracket though next time we do one on here. We have we'll have a bracket, and we'll be complaining about how Indiana State got left out. I'm not going to complain. I'll be disappointed more than anything. But,
yeah, I'm not one to complain about what the committee does unless it affects me personally.
Yeah, I mean, the last time Illinois was on the bubble, they got in when they probably shouldn't have.
Yeah.
Which I think was 2013, right? Because they were – I don't know if they got in. I don't know if they shouldn't have got in, but there was a 20-win Kentucky team that didn't get in that year. I'm just saying. All right. That will do it for us. So everybody on here next Monday. We got a bunch of other Illini stuff. You can check that out. If you're here, you probably see the Illini stuff. Nobody else is here for
Thanks, Bootzilla.
anything other than that. But all right, we'll see everybody next time.